All right. What is up, Albert? How are you, sir?
Doing well, man. Living
Good.
the dream. I always like to say that, but I don't know. My dream might be someone's nightmare. So
Somebody posted on one of the socials about how they hate when people say that. Those are, I think that's dumb. I think you should be living the dream because if not, what's the point, right?
I'm doing well, man. Happy for a Monday.
I am happy too. We are live. Uh, Forgiveness to those who are trying to get in and can't for whatever reason. I'll see if I can get the passcode. I don't know why it's asking for a passcode. Sometimes it asks for a passcode. Um, this is the REI 101 show podcast, YouTube channel, Facebook Live, all that. I'm with my wonderful co-host Alberto Medellin. How are you feeling today? Living the dream.
Living the dream. Yeah, I'm doing well, man. I'm happy for a Monday. I'm really excited about today's topic. So I like talking about misconceptions and myths and things like that about real estate investing. So I'm really interested in diving in on that today.
Yeah, I am a victim of some of these mindsets. They creep up. Those negative tapes are there. But hey, I wanted to point out in 2 weeks, I'm gonna go watch you kill yourself on 50 and 50. So everybody say happy birthday to Alberto. He just turned 50 years old. Happy birthday, Albert.
Thanks, man. Thank you. I'm looking forward to that 50 miler in a couple weeks. So hopefully, I'm praying that the weather is cool, similar, a little bit cooler than this morning. So, but who knows? Maybe it'll be hot and rainy. So,
We'll be there. I asked Richard to come out there and hang out with us.
Yeah,
So we'll be.
Albert, I volunteered to drive the beer cart behind you.
all right. I love it. That's gonna be awesome, man.
I mean, everybody supports in a different way.
You're right. Now I appreciate that, man.
Driving the beer cart. Okay. Very nice. Very nice. We have a very special guest, Charlie Bartee with Net Worth. One of my good friends for a long time. We have been supporting each other and pushing each other. How are you doing, Charlie? Thanks for being here today.
Man, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Charlie, tell us a little bit about your business, the world that you come from, and what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Okay. Yeah, net worth, we're a little bit different than a standard brokerage. I mean, we're an investment brokerage, so all we do is deal with investment properties. We buy them as is, where is, and then we have three basic exit strategies. We'll either keep them in house for a flip, we'll add them to our portfolio, or we'll stick a loan on it and sell the asset along with the loan because we're also a lender as well.
And there's nothing that you won't look at, right?
Yeah, we'll buy anything from a $30,000 house in Texas City to a $1.5 million property in the Heights. We'll buy a single family, multifamily, commercial land on a rare occasion, but if we can make a dollar on it, we're gonna make a dollar on it.
There you go. And that's a lot of what we're here is to educate different ways that we can make money. Albert and I have been talking about this. This is our 19th episode. We should do something special next week for episode 20, right? But we talked about different ways to make money in real estate. There's plenty of opportunity, whether it be lending out there, flipping, buying, holding, wholesaling is another great avenue. So if if you're interested in meeting people like Charlie and Albert and myself and expanding your team, we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Expanding your network. Come to the Deal Flow Network Happy Hour at Moonshine in the Heights. That's going to be Thursday, 4 to 7. Hope to see you there. But Charlie, thanks for joining us. So what we're talking about today is mindset. We're talking about the myth conceptions that people often have about investing in real estate. And so we'll go ahead and get right into it. Okay. So we're going to divide this into two categories. First is the personal myths. These are the things that we tend to think about in regards to ourselves. So as we kind of work through these, think about in your life, which type of these mindsets do you maybe have or have had or have a tendency to fall into? And so we'll break into that. And then our second segment that we'll get into today are some investing myths, that misconceptions that people may or may not have about actually investing in real estate. So, Albert, what do we got for myth number one? Let's break that one down.
Well, I think, like people think that their 9 to 5 job is going to get them to financial freedom.
Hmm.
And so I think that's, one myth that investors have, or people who are thinking about investing. They basically say, I don't really need to be an investor. My job will take care of my financial future, my financial wealth. So I think that's a big myth. I think we can attack that. We can address that one here first.
Yeah, it's good. So my job will take care of my financial wealth. Charlie, do you want to explain a little bit why just having a job is probably not enough in this world, huh?
It really isn't. I mean, while you're working, if you have a good job, if you're a doctor, lawyer, engineer, whatever, I mean, you have that income coming in, but at some point in time, you want to retire. And do you have that plan laid out to where you can live comfortably or maintain your lifestyle you have now through that, 401 IRA or whatever you have? But also, I mean, if you get into real estate investing, you can, retire early. And
Hmm.
then you can plan what you want to do. You can buy rental property. You can do an occasional flip here and there and maintain a higher level lifestyle than what you have currently at your job.
I think Gary V said it really well. He said one of the most addictive things in all humanity is a monthly wage, a monthly salary. I I feel like part of that mindset, and correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not as old as Albert. He's 50 now. So I think part of that mindset kind of goes back to like the baby boomer generation and the Gen X, when it was common back, before the 80s and 70s and even earlier than that. It was very common to have a job right out of high school or right out of college and just stay there the whole time.
Yeah.
And then you retire with a pension. And I think
Yeah,
that's,
20 years and go home. Yeah.
yeah, and that probably worked. And I think loyalty with the company that you stayed with, that was probably more common. Um, as we know now, things are changing at such an incredibly rapid pace. I heard someone say 99% of all the jobs now will be obsolete in the next 2 to 3 decades. I don't know if that's true or if that's extreme, but it's definitely, um, uh, there's a lot of jobs that are just not going to be here anymore. So there's a lot of, I mean, we're talking about risk and mitigating risk. It is probably pretty risky just to stay in that job and to count on that job to fund your future, right?
Yeah. I think too back then, when we're talking about the baby boomers and Gen X, right? Things were a lot less expensive back then in relation to people's income.
Yeah,
Like the amount of income they were paying, like for a house or for a mortgage or for rent or for a vehicle, was a much smaller percentage of their income back then.
yeah,
But then with the inflation over the last 40, 50 years, the way that it's taken off, income hasn't kept up with inflation.
yeah,
And so then what you really need is, like Charlie was saying, is having these real estate investments and have this basically another stream of income, whether it be wholesaling, flipping, or if you're a buy and hold investor, you've got that rental income coming in, or
exactly.
if you're a lender, you've got that passive income coming in as interest. So having real estate, or having another source of income, whether it be real estate or stocks or options or things like that as
Yeah,
well, you need that these days to really supplement your income.
yeah, absolutely. Charlie, anything else you wanted to add to that?
You got to figure right now also nobody has job loyalty. I mean, if somebody offers them a better paycheck, they're going to jump from one ship to the next. So getting to that job where you have actual pension set up or retirement plan that's going to work for you, it's
Yeah,
just not there anymore.
yeah, absolutely. And another thing is there's no limit when it comes to real estate investing. It compounds and grows, and it's really hard to mimic that effect in the 9 to 5 job world.
Yeah.
Uh, Charlie, what do we got for number two?
Number two, as far as I don't need or want to be financially wealthy, great. If you don't want
Yeah,
the luxuries in life, I mean, you don't have to have those luxuries, but you can have that freedom just to do what you want to do. If you want to, learn a new hobby, you want to take a cooking class, you want to travel, you just want to sit on the back porch and drink coffee. I
Hmm.
mean, real estate investing can get to that point just by having mailbox money, do an occasional flip for some money right now. So it all depends upon what you want to do and what you're looking for. But there's so many different avenues to have income streams, and you could have multiples, either through rentals, long term, short term, or you could have flips. You
Hmm.
can do some commercial stuff. I mean, there's so many options out there in real estate to where you don't have to have all your eggs in one basket, and you can still make a killing in all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Charlie hit it on the head again, is that word options and freedom.
Mhm.
Most people associate financial freedom or being financially wealthy with just having a bunch of money, and there's some people that are averse to having a bunch of money. They just
Hmm.
look at it in a certain way, right? But what that money brings is options and freedom, you know what he was explaining is having the finer things in life. And maybe it's not a fast car or a big house, but it's more time with your loved ones,
Yeah.
because that's just one thing. That's the most valuable commodity that we have
Hmm.
that we're never going to get back, right? Is time on this earth. And I think if you have these other streams of income, it gives you those options, gives you that freedom to spend more time with your family, more time doing the things that you really love to do,
Yeah.
and you can keep your job and have real estate investments at the same time, because some people also just want to keep their job. They don't
Yeah.
want to quit their job,
Hmm.
and that's fine too. I think having those streams of income, like Charlie's talking about, are just going to give you those options and that freedom, 100%.
Another thing I would add to that is I've met people that feel guilty. They don't deserve to be financially wealthy.
Hmm.
And I think that's a terrible lie. I think that real estate, a good real estate investor is contributing, providing opportunity. And when you look at, Albert, and Charlie both, you've experienced this when you find a home that's been um, neglected and abused, and it's really just a black eye on the neighborhood. How many times have we, Richard and I flipped a house in Pasadena. We start cleaning up the house and fixing it up, and the neighbors start waving and thanking us and driving by and giving us a round of applause while we're working on the house. So, keep in mind too, this type of work does have like a ripple effect that really impacts a lot of people in a positive way. So, myth three, Charlie, what do we have?
I don't have what it takes, or I just can't do it. I mean, that's fair. Anytime you learn anything new, it's going to be hard starting out with it. So, I mean, at that point, you just got to find what works for you. For your first deal, I mean, should you buy a house that's halfway burned down with the foundation all jacked up? Of course not. You just need to
Hmm.
find you a little lipstick rehab, one that's safer. You won't make $1 million off of it. And you can't retire off that first one, but it's a way to jump into it to where you'll make, 10, 15, 20 grand over, a month, 2 month span.
Yeah,
So there's ways to get into it safely without, putting everything you have out there on one deal.
that's right. That's right. Albert, do you have anything you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, there's just because we're in this segment's about personal myths, right? It's just these limiting beliefs that we have, that we give ourselves, is I just don't have what it takes, right? Like you mentioned, I just can't do it. I mean, I came from an IT background. I worked in IT with computers for 25 years,
Hmm.
and I did some DIY projects around my house, but mainly because I'm cheap, right? So like I'm gonna just do some of that stuff around my house, but I wasn't really good at it. I don't know how to hang drywall, do framing, or you know repair roofs and things like that. So when I got into real estate investing 5 years ago, I was scared, and I was intimidated by the amount of money that was kind of changing hands doing these deals. I was intimidated by these full gut rehabs that we were taking on at the time. But having a coach and a mentor and having people around me that basically said, look, if you everybody is scared when they start, and you just have to decide, are you going to let that just limit you and stop you, or are you just going to do it scared? And that's what we did. We just did it scared. And once we did it, and you guys can attest to that. Once you get your first deal, you do your first transaction, like, awesome. Okay, I really can do that. And now you're coming from a place of experience,
Yeah.
and you build upon that experience, deal after deal after deal, transaction after transaction, constantly learning. No deal is the same. I mean, some of them are just easy, base hits, not a big deal. Some of them you have to work really hard for. They're very intricate and complicated, but you get through it and you learn a lot along the way. But the point of all this is you learn by doing,
Yeah.
So we do have a lot of these limiting beliefs, but once you get that first deal, once you make that first transaction, it was kind of off to the races at that
Yeah.
point. And it's you prove to yourself, I can do this, you
Yeah.
know. Although you've got a lot of people that are just like you around you that are doing it, we just have these self-limiting beliefs that we have to overcome. But once you get that first one, you're off to the races.
That's
Yeah,
good.
I think you need to surround yourself with like-minded people also. People
Boom.
who have the same end goals, people who are cheering for you, or people you can lean on if you need to, because they've been there and done that. So if you have, that stupid question that's not stupid, you have people there that are willing to have your back and answer those questions for you as needed.
Hmm.
I go all the way back to when Charlie, you and I met very early in my career. Um, when you approached me, I could have just been like, I'm not really interested in talking to you or any, but what happened? You invited me to sit down. Let's sit down. Let's talk about the process. Ask as many questions as you want. And the fact that like guys like you, Charlie, guys like Albert and Richard, surrounding yourself with people is critical, especially people that really do have the heart of a teacher. I mean, that's part of the reason why we're on this call right now is just to educate people. Because I have clients that have made some really bad investments, and I wasn't there when they made those decisions. If they would have asked me, I would have told them not to do it. So having people that kind of watch your back and run the numbers for you, and lenders will do that for you, the appraisal. There's different safety nets, and just understanding that a little bit. You don't have to know all the ins and outs of everything, because you're going to learn. If you wait until you know everything, you'll never do anything at all.
It's too late.
But at the same time, like, there's a wealth of knowledge just around us, So that's why it's great to go to these meetings, come to these classes, jump on these calls. It's huge opportunities. So
I think, Austin, I'm the perfect example of that one, of how, whatever it's been now, 3.5, 4 years ago, the first time you and I had a conversation about it, you can remember how fearful that I was. And over time of working with you, and then you introduced me to Albert, and I felt like we talk about network a lot, and I got to that point to where I felt like the two of you had my back, and that you weren't going to let me, step off into something that was way over my head. And you work through that, and like Albert said, you do that first deal, and it comes out okay, and then you build with your network from there. And I mean, look what we have now.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's very true. I think it would take way more work to deceive and con people and try to build a business like that than what I always try to tell people when we're working on getting into business together is, like I'll say, Charlie, I need this to work for you just as much as it works for me, because if we do this deal together and you make money, then we're going to keep doing it together, and we're going to keep making money together. And that line seems to be very effective with people. So yeah, I want you to win, especially if we're doing deals together, I want you to win. Even if we're not, I mean, I want everyone to win. We just get better by getting better. So
Yeah, I don't want to do one deal with an investor. I want to do, 10 a year with that same investor. I mean, one and done doesn't make anybody money long term.
And also that's the nature of real estate investing. Not every deal is going to be, is going to change the trajectory of our family's legacy. There's some deals where you really don't make that much money, but it's making the best of that and building on the relationship. And we do things just to help people. We don't make a lot of money on, but we do our best. But what's more valuable than a commission check or a profit, after closing on a flip, is the relationship and the right to do more business with those people that you're working with. So that's huge. I think that's even more valuable, right?
Yeah, no
Yeah.
doubt.
Yeah.
So let's move on to investing myths. These are things and ideas that people may have about the actual investing process itself. Um, in a lot of ways, some of these can be even more intimidating. Albert, what do we have for our myth number 4?
Oh yeah. So it's how complicated investing is. I hear that a lot. We're gonna hit on another couple really good ones, but I hear that a lot. Um, I think a lot of times I hear that because people are looking at other people that are 10, 15, 20 years in the game,
Hmm.
and that's who they see on YouTube or that's who they're listening to on a podcast. And you're, that person's coming from day zero, right? Or day negative 90. Like they're still 3 months away from even getting started doing anything. And they just hear that and they think it's just too complicated,
Yeah.
right? Hear someone that's talking with this wide breadth of knowledge and they just think it's too complicated.
Charlie, is investing complicated?
It can be. I mean, you can make anything complicated, whether it be investment real estate or traditional real estate. It all depends on how you approach it. I mean, I think the biggest key for the investment side is having your systems in place.
Yeah.
If you buy a house and then try and figure out who you're going to hire to swing the hammer, and then you got to figure out the design, what's my exit strategy? Is it even a deal? I mean,
Yeah.
you got to have all that stuff in place to make yourself successful.
I love that. Have a system, have a process, have a plan. But but guess what? You can just rip off and duplicate because the plans are
It's
out
not
there.
reinventing the wheel. It's all the same
Yeah.
thing, different address.
In fact, a lot of what we're talking about today comes from the Millionaire Real Estate Investor by Gary Keller. And all this is public. It's on kellerinc.com, and all of our notes we release every week from this call. So the stuff we're talking about, we're not charging for this information. So yeah, don't reinvent the wheel. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Albert.
Well, I was just gonna say, just with AI now and everything, right? Is people have these resources available to them
Hmm.
that are even better than Google, right? Where we thought we could just Google everything and figure
Yeah.
things out, and you could, and it was okay. It could take you to places you need to go, podcasts, YouTube, things like that. But now you have these AI agents, right? You've got
Hmm.
ChatGPT, you've got Gemini, you've got these other agents where now they'll lay out an entire investment business plan for you,
Yeah.
right? That you can then fine tune even
Yeah.
more. And building off what we've talked about earlier, putting yourself in the right rooms with people, networking with people, being around people that are 1 or 2 steps or 5 steps ahead of you, right? And just kind of learning what they're doing, just being around them, that's super valuable. But they can break down these complicated steps. I think investing is a simple process. It's not easy, but it is simple. The traditional way of looking for a distressed property, right? Talking to someone like Charlie, who has a ton of distressed properties all over the area, and so working with someone who knows what a deal looks like, right? Validating, verifying those numbers, so understanding how to analyze a deal. And these are things that we've talked about, Austin, over the past 19 episodes, right? Underwriting deals, figuring out your financing for a deal,
Hmm.
figuring out how you're going to handle contractors and determining your budget and all those things, having those systems in place. Again, I'm just repeating what Charlie is saying. Having those systems in place ahead of time, it's not hard, right? You can figure it out,
Hmm.
and it's not complicated,
That's
right?
right.
Let's just bust that myth. It's not complicated.
It is not. Myth number 5: investing is risky. I'll lose my money. Charlie, what you got for that?
Yeah, it is risky. It has to be, otherwise it's not profitable.
That's right.
I mean, what's not risky? Stock market's risky. IRA could go up and down. Your 401 could go up and down. Driving down 45 is risky. I mean, what in life's not risky?
Right.
At the end of the day, you just got to learn how to mitigate that risk, weigh out what's worth it and what's not worth it. And as long as you can mitigate that risk and come to peace with it, to where, yeah, this is the deal I want to go with, then it's not as risky. But you got to feel good about it. Otherwise, you're going to feel bad about it through the entire process.
That's right. That's right. I saw this cartoon the other day. It had three doors. One was risk, the other was responsibility, and the other was reward. And the door to the there was a line in front of the door that said reward, but in front of risk and in front of the door that said responsibility, nobody was standing in line.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the mentality I think that society tends to have, from my perspective, at least, is that everybody wants to reap that reward, but very few people are willing to take that risk. And so I think you're 100% correct. There is some risk involved in that, but I think it's important to differentiate between risk and recklessness.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
when a lot of people are, betting on red or playing the lottery, I think that's far more risky than in real estate. Albert, what do you
Yeah.
think?
Well, I mean, I agree 100%. I'd like to just add that, when people are thinking about investing in real estate or investing in the stock market, mutual funds, whatever it might be, they see this dollar amount. It's like, okay, I've got $50,000. This is what I'm going to use. I'm going to talk to a hard money lender. I'm going to connect with Charlie. We're going to figure out how we're going to do this. I'm going to buy me a fixer upper, and I'm
Hmm.
going to flip it. And they think to themselves, you know, I could lose $50,000. They see that dollar amount, okay, and they get locked in, right? And they get scared, and they may move forward, okay, and break even, or maybe lose some money, or make a lot of money.
Yeah.
But I think where people spend the most time and encounter the most fear is this risk that they perceive that they don't really understand, and that's the risk of doing nothing. That's the risk of just, like we mentioned before, depending on your job, depending on your 401k, and since April, the market's been on a tear, right?
Yeah.
So we had that big drop in April. I'm a real estate investor primarily, but we still have IRAs and things like retirement accounts and things like that. So I'm looking at the stock market, and I know like everyone's looking at all their portfolios going up. They're like, awesome, you know, and it's great. But what they don't understand is what's the market going to be doing when you actually need that money,
Right.
right? When it comes time for you to retire. And trust me, they force you to start withdrawing that money after a certain age. You just can't like leave it there in
Yeah.
perpetuity. They force you to. And then there's probably some ways around that. But what's the market going to be doing at that point in time? What if we're in the midst of a bear market
Hmm.
and you have reached retirement age and now you have to start drawing off of that for your income,
Yeah.
and you don't have any other hard assets producing income,
Yeah.
right? And that's, people can't see 20, 30, 40 years down the road. So they're just like, I'm just going to work my job. I can't perceive that threat or that risk, but I do see the $50,000 that I could lose by flipping this house,
Yeah.
right? And so they don't do that, and they just keep working, right? I see that happen a lot. I talk to a lot of people. I talk to a lot of investors. Um, you know, we present opportunities to a lot of investors that could be potential private money lenders,
Hmm.
Austin, and that's one of the things that I hear often. It's like, well, we're doing okay right now, like we talked about earlier. Like we're doing okay. I just don't want to lose that money right now. I don't have enough to like to put it at stake, at risk. I'm like, okay,
I
yeah,
think that's a risk in
yeah,
itself.
yeah,
Standing on the sidelines. I was talking to Charlie earlier about just how fast things are changing, and man, we just don't know. To me, it seems if AI takes over the world, why are they going to need real estate? Humans are still going to need a place to live, no matter what happens, right? So, um, to me, it seems to be one of the safer places to put your money is in real
mhm,
estate. In the most extreme cases, land is still going to be valuable, and and
Not making more dirt. So I mean, what's there is there.
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. They are not making more dirt. So, any other thoughts about that, Charlie?
I think a lot of the risk also can be mitigated through education. I mean, know the market, know what's going on, know the area you're buying in. Okay, do your due diligence on it. Okay,
Yeah,
Mhm.
how this house is going to sell in the market for what's my days on market? Is it 10 days? Is it 100 days? Is it 300 days?
yeah,
And so just education can offset some of that risk just by itself.
Perfect. Yeah. Incredible point. Yeah. Knowing what you're doing, knowing the market, understanding the risks, uh, will put you in a better position to take advantage of the opportunities. You don't want to, you don't want to discard an opportunity just because of some risk. I mean,
Mhm.
we all got to the place we are currently in our life because we took a series of calculated risks, and you know, more than 51% of those worked out for us, I would say. So,
Yeah.
Albert, what's next?
Uh, I think another common one, and this comes with investing in general, not just the real estate market, but in the stock market too, is people are just fearful that, they're just trying to time the market. I think for the past 10 years, these YouTube gurus have been calling or forecasting or predicting a market crash,
Yeah.
a real estate market crash for like the last 10 years. And that, I think that kept a lot of people out of the market and they
Hmm.
missed one of the best real estate markets in the last decade, right? With
Yeah.
interest rates as low as we had them over the past, before they went up in 2022, like over the past like 3 or 4 years, they were like in the twos and 1%, like it's just unheard of,
Yeah.
but people were trying to time the market, you
Yeah.
know. Um, I just think for me, it's not trying to time the market, it's spending time in the market.
Boom.
You know?
Say that again.
Um,
Say that again, Albert.
yeah. Not trying to time the market, but spending time in the market.
Yeah.
I don't want to take it. I'll give you guys a moment here. I don't want to steal all your thunder, but just some of the things I've learned over the last 5 years in investing is, you know, obviously like over the past 2 or 3 years, flipping has been really hard. You've had to be a lot more conservative with your numbers. I think 2020, 2021, and 2022, when interest rates were low, the market could really save you from a bad investment.
Hmm.
I mean,
Hmm.
people were buying fixer uppers and in 6 months they appreciated 50% before
Yeah.
they were done, right? So that saved a lot of people. Okay. But even people that maybe got burned, okay, you learn from that. I'm going to be a little bit more conservative. And just like with the stock market, you can dollar cost average buying real estate,
Hmm.
right? If you're
Yeah.
buying one property a year or one small multifamily a year, no matter if the market is high or low, like we're in this for the long haul, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're trying to get in and out, just like the stock market, there's probably a good chance you may lose money,
Yeah.
if you're just in and out of the stock market, in and out of real estate. But if you're a buy and hold investor and your time horizon is like 10, 15, 20, all the way, 30 years from now, then there's a really good chance that even if you bought at the top of a market, over the next 10 years, you probably have made it through the next cycle,
Right.
and then you're still in a good position. Right. So
100.
I'll let you guys. I didn't want to take all your thunder here.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. I always tell people that you don't win games by hitting home runs. The way you win a baseball game is by getting on base. And the
mhm.
same thing in real estate. If you can find a way to be consistent, even if it's just picking up, one property a year, um, you may not wake up, the next day with a millionaire, but eventually that progress, that process, it compounds upon itself. Charlie, do you have anything you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, you can time the market. I mean, there's always the hot spots here and there. I mean, but even on a down market, you just got to own it. I mean, if you're in a neighborhood, say the houses are going for 300K, and you have plenty of actors out there supporting that, you got to be able to buy that house, rehab it, and be able to list it for 275, 280, undercut the market. And at that point, timing the market is not really a factor because a
Yeah.
good house for a good price, it's going to sell.
Yeah, absolutely. They say, what
Uh,
was the old saying? The best time to buy real estate was 20 years ago. The second best time to buy it is right now.
that's right. Yep.
So I
That
don't,
goes with the old what is it? Oak tree planting, right? Yeah.
the, there's not anybody on the planet that purchased real estate in 2008 during that crash and regretted it.
Mhm.
Everybody made a killing off that. And if they still have that property, it's quadrupled in value in some cases.
Oh yeah.
Probably tripled, but yeah. So any other myths? If you're on the call and you have anything you want to add to that, feel free to leave a message in the chat or you can come off mute. But what are some of those myth conceptions, those misconceptions that people have about investing in real estate?
I think the biggest one that I hear often is you don't need money to get started.
Hmm.
You got to have skin in the game. I mean,
Yeah.
people they watch some guru on YouTube or go to a hotel ballroom and sit there and spend thousands of dollars, and somebody tells them, yeah, you can buy a house for 60% of ARV with no money out of pocket, and that's just not realistic.
Yeah. That's funny hearing it come from you because you're a wholesaler. But
I'm not a wholesale. I'm a licensed agent.
I know. So yeah, so some of those myths, so not needing money, gurus like to say things like that.
I agree with you. I think you definitely need some skin in the game. I think that you could partner with people, who have experience and maybe have some of the money. Let's say you're good at finding deals, or you've learned how to underwrite deals. You work with someone who's taught you how to underwrite deals. So you can bring a deal to someone and partner with people,
Hmm.
so you don't necessarily need cash in that respect. But I think when people do bring something like that to the table, I think just for me, it's just human nature. They're going to work harder, right? Because they
Right.
have that skin in the game. They have that risk, in there. Even as a partner, if a partner is bringing a deal and the other partner is bringing the cash, that partner that's bringing the deal, yeah, still, doesn't really understand. I think it definitely needs to be communicated up front. Definitely. Hey, you're going to share in the profit, but you're also going to share in the
Yeah.
loss, right? If we
Yeah.
lose money, like you're bringing some money to the table at that point.
It goes
So
back to risk.
yeah, so it goes back to risk, but vetting your partners and things like that. I think like in our mentorship program, we talk to like potential students, and one of the questions that we do ask is we ask them just up front. We want to know up front, hey, how much working capital do you have? And if people just say, well, I've got about $5,000 or $10,000, then I'm like, okay, well, I don't think our program's great, right, fit for you, but I think partnering with people, whether they're in another program or at a networking meetup or something like that,
Yeah.
bringing some kind of value to that partnership, like get good at bird dogging or
Yeah.
learn how to door knock, right? There's a bunch of free resources out there. So, but anyways, that is one of the myths is, Charlie was saying that you can do it without money,
Hmm.
but also some people think that you need hundreds of thousands of dollars
Yeah.
to do it. Some people they've never heard of hard money, right? They don't know who a private money lender is. All they know is, hey, I've got to put 20% down
Yeah.
or 25% down. If I'm looking at a house that's $250,000, they're thinking to themselves, I need to bring 50K down and I've got to rehab it,
Mhm.
right? So not having the right education or the right partners or networking with the right people to kind of help you along there, they're missing out on a lot of deals
That's right.
because of that myth. Both of those myths. I can do it without money, and also I need a lot of money to do it.
Charlie, I want to switch gears a little bit if you don't mind, because
Good.
uh, you're you're seeing a lot of different type of deals than what I'm looking at. Most of what I'm looking at is on the MLS. It's listed, or there are listings that are probably not in the same category of properties that you're looking at. You're going in and you're finding you're dealing with some of the most motivated sellers. Would you agree with that?
Sometimes they're situational, sometimes they're financial situations. So depending on what they have going on in life could be a factor also.
Have you seen any change in the wind recently in regards to why are people selling under these types of circumstances? For what reason are people finding themselves in a situation where they're needing to sell their property so fast?
One of the big ones that comes up a lot recently is taxes. I mean, taxes have gone through the roof in Galveston County. So, I
Mm.
mean, a lot of people just can't afford that escrow increase. So they're what they were paying $1,000 a month for their mortgage. Now it's, 15, 16, 1700 bucks a month, and they don't have that extra surplus. So they're kind of in a spot where they're risking foreclosure or pre-foreclosure or doing a refinance, which is going to make it even worse because the rate's going to go up.
Mm.
So, I mean, a lot of times it's just taxes is the big one right now.
Do you think a lot of this could have been avoided by people protesting their taxes?
Oh, definitely. People should protest them every other year. I mean, you can pay a company to do it for you, and it's only a couple $100, and that comes
Hmm.
out of it. So it's well worth it too many people don't, and it just goes up every year. 3, 5, 7%, and it just keeps compounding. So yeah, you should just do them every other year.
So you're seeing an increase in sales because of taxes. What are some common reasons people are wanting to sell?
Um, Actually, here recently, we've had quite a few divorce situations, which we really can't plan for that. I
Really?
mean, husbands and wife part ways. I mean, house has to go somewhere.
Yeah,
I mean, that was kind of hit and miss for us for the longest time. We've had quite a few of those coming up recently for whatever the reason is.
that's interesting. I wouldn't have known that.
And I've
Um,
also noticed that foreclosures are starting to come back around again because there for a while they were gone for the most part.
yeah,
But now we're actually having some foreclosures come back around and falling on our table as well.
I'm seeing that too. Albert, are you seeing more foreclosures pop up?
Yeah. I do track the foreclosures in Galveston County more closely than Harris County just because it's for me, I just do it manually, right? I'm on the county clerk's website, every other day, and I'm tracking a lot of these, and I'm starting to see more of these filings in Galveston County at least. So it's usually exponentially higher in Harris County, right? You have a much larger population and just people that are in distress for the reasons that Charlie's talking about, especially in Galveston County, is insurance costs have gone up. Texas windstorm is just, they just increased their rates. They
Yeah,
can't necessarily increase their rates at will, like to like the maximum. I think there's some legislation that was recently approved that kind of limited the Texas windstorm increases,
yeah,
but that doesn't mean they cannot increase at all. They just can't increase to the max amount that they were
yeah,
trying to. I got my renewal for one of our properties in Galveston. It went up, another $275 for the year, right? Some people might not think that's too much of a big deal, but there's no reason for that.
yeah.
Like why did it go up? Like so,
So
yeah,
yeah, taxes and insurance, I think, are compounding. They- they're often tied together with the mortgage, and so it's all.
yeah.
So yeah, try to get ahead of that. No, I appreciate you sharing, Charlie. Thank you so much. How can we get a hold of you? Why do we need to be your friend? Why don't you tell everyone?
Well, we have 3 offices here in the Houston area. So we have 60 different agents going that many different directions every day. So a lot of times people trying to find properties, I mean, we're still selling 15, 20 properties a month, and they're all needing some love.
Yeah,
Mhm.
By all means, if anybody wants to learn anything, I'll be happy to sit down with them, grab coffee, grab lunch, and kind of explain our process to them. Are we a good fit for everybody? Of course not. But can we be a tool to be utilized every day?
yeah, absolutely,
Awesome.
100% agree. So we'll be sure to leave your contact information in the show notes. Albert, do you have any final closing words before we end today?
Now, just a quick summary, man. I think starting with the proper mindset is going to help you with those personal myths, right? Getting around the right people is going to help with that too, but also it's going to help with just learning the process. Like Charlie, I would encourage people to take up Charlie on that offer, right? A cup of coffee, lunch, right? Spend an hour, go over their process, and maybe y'all are a good fit. You just never know, right? Until you just spend time and talk to people. All right. People hear a lot about whether it's firms like Net Worth or other firms that kind of do similar things, whether they're finding distressed properties and either keeping them or selling them, however they're doing that, right? I think connecting with the right people and building a solid team. And I'm sure Charlie, you've known Charlie Austin. I just met him today, but I know if he's in your circle, he's legit. Is they're going to find solutions where everybody wins, like Charlie mentioned
That's
before.
right.
I tell like wholesalers and agents that I work with and contractors, just everyone that is a vendor to me, is I'll tell them, I'm like, look, you can feast, you can have the Thanksgiving dinner on me one time a year, right? Or just once, right? Or we can have a steak dinner every night, like
Hmm.
let's just, if we can all win and we can make those numbers work where everybody wins, we can all eat at the same table every month,
That's
all the
right.
time,
Yeah,
right? Like don't try to feast on me. Like let's all figure it out where we can all win and just eat together forever. That's how I look at it,
that's right. Charlie, appreciate you, brother. Thank you for being
For
here.
having me, I appreciate it.
man. Awesome.
Albert, Much love. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, we are on, thank you, Rick Fisher. Appreciate you being here. We're on YouTube. We will soon be on Spotify and Apple Podcast. So make sure you subscribe to Austin from Houston, notification bell, leave a comment on our posts. Follow us on Facebook too, Austin from Houston. Find Albert on Facebook. Albert, he is a meticulous documenter of his process. So he shares all of his secrets for free. So make sure you're following him on Facebook and come out to Seabrook with us in 2 Saturdays. We're gonna watch Albert run 50 miles because what else are you gonna do on a beautiful Saturday?
Yeah, besides watch somebody just suffer.
We'll end on that note. Have a good day.
Have a good one.